The low hum of a car engine broke the stillness of the morning in the quiet suburban neighborhood of Atlanta, Georgia. Marcus Williams, a 47-year-old black man, paused mid-sip of his coffee, his eyes narrowing as he peered through the kitchen window. A sleek black limousine, polished to a mirror-like shine, rolled to a stop in front of his modest two-bedroom home. The neighbors, accustomed to the routine of early morning jogs and dog walks, craned their necks, whispering to one another. Two figures emerged from the car, a sharply dressed man in a tailored suit and a woman in a crisp blazer, both exuding an air of purpose as they strode toward Marcus's front door. Marcus set his mug down, wiping his hands on a dish towel. His face remained calm, but a flicker of curiosity danced in his dark eyes. He had lived a life of quiet resilience, and unexpected visitors were rare. 20 years ago, he had been a different man, a young taxi driver scraping by, working long hours to provide for his aging father. Now, as he approached his door, he felt a strange sense of anticipation, as if the past was about to knock. 20 years earlier, Marcus was 27, driving the night shift for Atlanta City cabs. The job paid just enough to cover rent and his father's medical bills, but demanded grueling hours and a smile for every passenger, no matter how rude. One freezing January evening, as snow dusted the streets, Marcus spotted a figure huddled in an alley near the downtown Greyhound station. It was a homeless man, no older than 30, his clothes tattered and his face gaunt with hunger. Marcus slowed his cab, his breath fogging in the cold air. The man's name, he would later learn, was Jeremiah. Against company policy, Marcus slipped him a sandwich from his own lunch and a spare blanket from the trunk. Night after night, Marcus returned, bringing whatever food he could spare. Leftover diner meals, fruit from the corner store, anything to keep Jeremiah from starving. His supervisor, Carl Dawson, a grizzled 55-year-old with a penchant for cutting corners, caught wind of Marcus's actions after a month. "You think this is a soup kitchen?" Dawson barked, his face red with indignation. "You're a driver, not a charity worker. Keep this up and you're out." Marcus didn't stop. He couldn't. Jeremiah's quiet gratitude, the way his eyes lit up at a hot meal, kept Marcus going. But one night, Jeremiah vanished. Marcus searched the alleys, asked around, and finally learned from a shelter worker that Jeremiah had been picked up by a state program and sent to a facility upstate. Marcus was left with an ache in his chest, wondering if he'd made a difference. Dawson didn't just reprimand Marcus. He made sure the story spread. "That driver's been stealing fares to feed bums," he told other cab companies, ensuring Marcus was blacklisted across Atlanta. Jobless, Marcus took whatever work he could find, washing cars, delivering groceries, cleaning warehouses. His father, James, watched his son Spirit Road under the weight of rejection. "You're better than this, Marcus," James said one evening, his voice weak from years of heart trouble. "You've got a mind sharper than most. Don't let this city break you." What Dawson didn't know was that Marcus held a degree in computer science from Georgia Tech, earned with honors while working part-time to support his father. He drove cabs with flexible hours, not because it was his only option, but Atlanta's job market didn't care about his credentials. To them, he was just another black man, easily dismissed. Each rejection fueled a quiet resolve in Marcus. He began keeping a notebook, jotting down snippets of conversations he overheard in his cab, business deals, shady transactions, and the casual prejudice of passengers who assumed he was invisible. One night, while cleaning a warehouse owned by Dawson's brother-in-law, Marcus overheard a heated discussion about off-the-books payments and doctored expense reports. Dawson's cab company, it turned out, was a front for more than just transporting passengers. Marcus's pen moved faster, capturing every detail. James passed away on a rainy April morning, his hand gripping Marcus's as he whispered, "Make something of this pain, son. Don't let it eat you." At the funeral, Marcus met Sarah Thompson, a former classmate of his father's and a data analyst who had faced her own battles with workplace discrimination. Over coffee, Marcus shared his notebook, now filled with years of observations. Sarah's eyes widened as she flipped through the pages. "This is a gold mine," she said. "If even half of this is verifiable, you've got enough to shake up Dawson's whole operation." Together, they began to build a case. Marcus took a job as a night janitor at a building where Dawson's accountant kept an office. Under the guise of emptying trash cans, he photographed documents, copied spreadsheets, and recorded hushed conversations through thin walls. Sarah helped him organize the evidence, teaching him how to cross-reference data and spot patterns of fraud. "You're a natural," she told him, impressed by his meticulousness. "This isn't just about Dawson anymore. This is about exposing the system." Dawson, meanwhile, expanded his empire, buying out smaller cab companies and securing city contracts through backroom deals. He laughed off rumors of Marcus's struggles, telling colleagues, "That kid's probably washing dishes somewhere. Some people just don't know their place." He had no idea Marcus was closer than he thought, gathering the ammunition to dismantle everything Dawson had built. The first blow came on a humid August morning. Dawson's accountant called in a panic, reporting an IRS audit demanding records from the past 7 years. "They've got details they shouldn't have," the accountant stammered. "Offshore accounts, fake invoices, stuff we buried deep." Dawson brushed it off, confident in his connections. "It's a bluff," he said, but his voice wavered. 2 days later, a local news outlet published a scathing expose. Cab King's empire built on fraud and discrimination. The article detailed Dawson's tax evasion, underpaid drivers, and a culture of racial bias. Black and Latino drivers were consistently assigned worse shifts and lower-paying routes. A leaked recording sealed the story's impact. Dawson's voice, clear as day, saying, "You don't put those types in charge. They're good for driving, not decision-making." The fallout was swift. City contracts were canceled, drivers filed lawsuits, and the IRS froze Dawson's accounts. During a frantic meeting with his lawyers, Dawson's phone rang. "Who's this?" he snapped. "Marcus Williams," came the calm reply. "The driver you fired for feeding a homeless man." Dawson's face drained of color. "What do you want? Money?" Marcus chuckled softly. "I don't need your money, Carl. I've got everything I need. Those accounts you hid? The IRS has them. Those recordings? They're on every news channel by now. You built your empire on lies, and I just let the truth do the talking." Dawson slammed the phone down, but it was too late. His company collapsed within weeks, his reputation in tatters. He became a pariah, reduced to managing a small car rental agency on the city's outskirts. 20 years after that cold January night, Marcus stood at his front door, facing the two strangers from the limousine. The man extended his hand. "Marcus Williams? I'm Jeremiah Carter. This is my business partner, Lena Hayes." Marcus's heart skipped a beat. Jeremiah, the homeless man he'd fed all those years ago, stood before him, now a successful tech entrepreneur. Lena, a community organizer, had worked with Jeremiah to build a nonprofit that provided job training and housing for the homeless. They had tracked Marcus down after seeing his name in a documentary about Dawson's downfall, which credited an anonymous source for exposing the cab company's corruption. "We never forgot what you did," Jeremiah said, his voice thick with emotion. "You didn't just give me food. You gave me hope. I got into a program, got clean, and used what you taught me about kindness to build something better." Lena handed Marcus a folder. "We're starting a foundation to help people like Jeremiah was people the system overlooks. We want you to lead it. Your story, your strategy. It's proof that one person can change everything." Marcus flipped through the folder, finding plans for vocational programs, affordable housing, and community kitchens. A yellowed note caught his eye, a thank you letter Jeremiah had written years ago, now framed. "You kept me alive," it read. "One day, I'll pay it forward." 2 years later, the Williams Carter Foundation was a beacon of hope in Atlanta. It had trained over 600 people, housed 200 families, and opened 3 community centers. Marcus, now a respected figure in social justice circles, spoke at conferences, sharing his journey from taxi driver to changemaker. Justice isn't about tearing down, he told audiences. It's about building up. Dawson thought he could break me, but he only showed me what I was capable of. Dawson, meanwhile, faded into obscurity, his name synonymous with corporate greed. He occasionally saw Marcus on the news, a reminder of the man he'd underestimated. Marcus felt no bitterness, only pride in the lives he'd touched. As he stood in a new community center, watching trainees learn coding skills, Marcus thought his father's words. Make something of this pain. He had. And in doing so, he'd turn one act of kindness into a legacy that would outlast any empire built on prejudice.